You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back with another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Well. I have been waiting to do this episode all week long because, you know, it's just one of them days when I'm feeling just one of them days. That's how I feel about it. You know, I just have so many thoughts, and it's time. It's time to talk about grifters. It's time to talk about a lot of the foolery that's been going on. And I think that this week, the affinity, stones, the affinity wars of grifters aligned in a way that we hadn't seen before. And I just felt like this episode, it needed to be, not to say a special edition, because none of this information is special. But I just had to unpack on a lot of the things that we know to be true. And it was by golly time to get to that point where we could get together as a community to really talk about some of the things that we have seen and we knew, and it was time. So this episode is about that. But before we get into the hot tea, I just want to let y'all know how I'm doing. So I just saw the Lil Nas X video for Industry Baby, the premiere. Lil Nas X is going to Lil Nas X, and I love it. He's just, I would say he's getting into gimmick territory, but because the homophobes are so obsessed with him, I mean, he could literally keep being, one would argue that Madonna could be considered at many points a gimmick. Like, you would say Madonna has found ways to reinvent herself. And I feel like Lil Nas X is just finding new ways to give a big middle finger to every bigot that cannot get enough of him. Like, he's owning his sexuality. He's definitely doing everything under the sun, okay? I don't want to give away the video, but pink inmates and outfits, Jack Harlow with a cameo. It's just a lot of nudity, of course, because he just loves that. Corey, I said I wasn't going to say anything. It's just a very raunchy video. But the thing about it is that he told everybody up top what it was given. Because it's definitely not... Oh, he's in the phase where he gives no fucks at this point. He wants all of his gots. He's got 2 Grammys under his belt. He's got a major platinum record. He's got the highest #1 single of all time on the Billboard charts with Old Town Road. Okay? He has nothing to prove at this point. He's just doing whatever he wants to do. And he's in his 20s. He's like 22. So, listen, it's his world and we're living in as far as, pushing that envelope. But as far as the podcast go, you all have just been eating it up. And I cannot thank you even more for continuing to raise the envelope, to raise the bar, okay, to continue to break it into new parts. We was at number 75 not too long ago. We're just going higher and higher and higher up the charts. And it's because you are spreading the word of mouth. And I can't thank you enough for continuing to listen to this podcast, to share it on social media, to tell people about it. This is independently produced. It's just myself and a mic in my lovely in-home studio. And I'm just doing my thing and talking my shit. A lot of people want to come in and consult and do all that. Listen, this is a bare bones operation, okay? It's just me talking my shit, giving you all the latest scoops on what's going on. And that's it. I don't need all the razzle dazzle right now. I have enough of that in other aspects of my life. Like, I'm not self-publishing my book. I'm self-producing my podcast, but I have a whole major 6-figure book deal where I'm writing a book right now about cancel culture. And I've been all engrossed in that. I have all the formalities elsewhere. This is for me a labor of love. It's a fun project. It makes me feel good. It's therapeutic for me. I just want to have fun. Let me have fun with my podcast. I don't want to always corporalize everything. I mean, some things, I know that people, care about it in that way, but I just think sometimes as Black people, we don't got to monetize everything. Okay? And I do plan to eventually charge for episodes, and I've talked about that in previous episodes, and do subscriptions in a light level, but I'm having fun, and I just want to put this out there. This is just me on my soapbox, and if it reaches out and touches people in a way that makes them connect with the world in a new way, that's all. It's just a labor of love, and I'm having fun. I'm doing cool things, so I just wanted to put that out there. So wedding. So the special edition episode that I just did previously before this one, you can get all of the details of the wedding shower, the bachelor party, and all of that jazz in that episode. And given everything that's been going on this week, I'm so happy that I did that bonus episode, because I would have not had time to talk about the things that we need to talk about today, clearly. But for those who want to know all the deets and details, it was fabulous. It was lovely, of course. I do talk a lot about some other things that came up during the wedding shower that didn't involve the couple and I. Okay, we're doing great. But just other topics about proposals and engagements and all that. It was a really deep episode in a way that I wasn't expecting to be that long, but I just go into my flow, and I just, look, I feel like this is heavy on my chest and I want to say something about it. So listen to that episode to get all of the updates. But as far as current things that have come up since then, we have a table arrangement. So my fiance and I, Mr. Johnson and I, we did the final tasting of the food at our venue. And with that came linens for the table and the decorations for the different aspects of the events for the wedding. And we also got our tables together, which is fabulous. I'm so happy. We now have established our seating charts. Most of our wedding party have confirmed via RSVPs that they've mailed in. Of course, as you know, the wedding shower was the big, huge outpour of confirmed RSVPs for the wedding. And with that brought our number down to about roughly 90-something confirmed RSVPs that were mailed in, and those who went to the wedding shower. So we're only waiting for a couple of more people to confirm. They're just trying to, figure it out. But they have till like mid-August. And after that, our waiting list will be open and we'll look at it. But it looks like it's going to be pretty much mostly everybody who's coming is going to come. There might be maybe one or two people that may not be able to come for different reasons. But other than that, it looks like we're pretty much going to have pretty much a 98% perfect attendance as far as original invitees. So that is pretty good. I'm excited about that. For those who are on the waiting list, they were like, ugh. But listen, I'm happy. I'm happy. And we're very excited about everything. So that was fun. We've established our seating arrangements, which I heard is one of the hardest things to do. It's like cracking the Da Vinci Code. If you're able to get your party to confirm, if you can get that wedding party to simply say yes, okay, not yes to the dress, but get everyone in on understanding the importance of being cordial. So the way our seating arrangement is set up is that there will be a big, huge master table at the wedding party, which is about 20 of us and some change. And then there is 8 big round tables that seat 8 people and a piece. And so those tables were the ones that we really had to figure out and coordinate. And we was able to make it work. Everyone's table has like a theme of relevance and connection. Like, Barry has his bartending table of all of his bartending colleagues and friends. And I have a table of people from PABJ. I also got a table of all of my NABJ people from the national organization. And then we got the woke table, which is hilarious, of friends of ours that are activists and organizers, people like that. We also have the Penn table, which is a lot of our peers that went to the University of Pennsylvania all know each other. So everybody's at tables we also have the political table of people who are involved in politics and consulting, that kind of stuff. Like we have all these really cool tables of people, and they all kind of are familiar with each other. So no one's sitting with strangers. No one's completely like, who the hell is this? It's pretty pretty good tables. I mean, Mr. Johnson's family has people on his side of the table, and then he has a table for his like relatives. I have a table for my relatives that are coming that are not my parents, who will be sitting at the main table, and his parents that will be sitting at the main table as well. We have like one big long table that's going to be so beautiful. So that was good. I finally paid off the ladies' makeup for the wedding. So Barry and I both agreed that we would get the guys' haircuts done and then get all the women's makeup done. And we thought initially that was going to be equal pricing, but then we found out it wasn't. But we worked out a great deal, and the makeup artist is doing it for $75 a face, which we're super excited about. So got that done. And the best thing, and my favorite thing, is that we're working with a great florist, Nature's Gallery, who has been doing flowers in this city for like decades, like I think 30 years. And the florist there that runs the shop knew who I was. How cool is that? And so we hit it off really well. And what I was really happy about, and what I learned about wedding planning, for those who are interested in wedding planning, all this stuff, I could write a whole book about it. But apparently I've been killing it. And on my end of, being on top of it, people have told me, and both of us as a couple have just been collectively, we've just been making it happen. And one of the good things about that is just working hard, just executing it. We've been really planning this wedding from the beginning, like through just writing and taking notes and ideas and just hitting those marks, having those meetings, doing those Zoom calls, making those deposits, paying those things off, and just counting heads, and just it's a lot of joyful work. But I don't complain because it's fun stuff, and it's fun when you have the money to pay for the stuff. I think that's the fun part, is when you can just be like, yeah, I got that deposit. Yeah, we could take care of this today. Take it out of my account right now. And then the cool part too is that what we did, which I think is cool for couples, is that we created a joint account that was the wedding account. And what we did was that once we pay off everything for the wedding, which is pretty much everything's paid off at this point, but this is now become our joint account as a couple. So that's kind of what we did, and I think it was an awesome idea. And it's just been interesting seeing us evolve and get in this space. But we've been living together and everything else. And I talk a lot about that in the last episode. So please listen to it if you haven't. But one of the things about flowers is that you don't want to make the reservations or do anything about flowers until you have your tables established. Because the florist was so happy that we had the table arrangements, that we had the linens, that we had details about colors and wedding colors and all this stuff, because those are the details that they use to, number one, figure out how many flowers they need, and then what kind of flowers and what kind of looks and things. And so it was very important for us to have that down. So I was really excited and happy that we had that, because some people think flowers are one of the first things you get, but no, it's one of the last things you get, because you have to have so many other details to help make sure that those bouquets and everything else that comes with it is spot on. So that was good news that I didn't even know. So I say all that to say that I am getting really fucking annoyed with people when it comes to this pandemic. And let me say that because now the city of Philadelphia and many major cities across the country is now mandating that all, okay, not some, not those who are vaccinated, not those who are not vaccinated, everybody now has to wear a mask indoors. Thanks a fucking lot to you people who are not getting vaccinated. You're messing it up for everybody. Everybody. And I mean it. I mean it. Okay? So this Delta variant, okay, has been ravaging, okay? Let's be clear. The fatalities are a fraction of what they were during the highest bounce during the pandemic. So I don't want people to freak out to the point where they think that everything is happening all over again. It's not that. What's happening is that there is a variant. It's called the Delta variant, and it is very contagious. And people who have not gotten vaccinated are getting the Delta variant. They are getting COVID, the variant of COVID, of coronavirus. They're getting it. And as a result, the cases are starting to go up again because it's doing what it's doing. This fucking variant. As a result, children are now beginning to get it. And it's happening. So there is a journalist, a meteorologist, a broadcast, 6ABC. His name is Adam Joseph. Gay man, great guy, family man. And it was just heartbreaking. He told a story about that has went viral, that was on Good Morning America. It's gotten a lot of buzz. And also, of course, local media, where he had a family member who was not vaccinated come to his house. Adam and him and his partner, they're vaccinated. Their children, their small children aren't, because the vaccine hasn't really been able to go around to small children yet. But that person came, the kids tested positive for COVID-19, and the nanny ended up getting it as well, and then other family members connected to the nanny also got it, because one family member who came that was unvaccinated came, and then they got COVID, and then that's how it spread. And so Adam was very emotional about it. There was a lot of emotions in general, and it just serves as a reminder that even when everyone thought things were getting a little bit lax, and I have to admit, as you all know, I got a little comfortable. But to be very clear, those who are vaccinated, okay, that are fully vaccinated, the likelihood of them getting seriously sick or dying from this variant is super low, okay? It's nearly like, I don't want to say the word impossible, but basically close to impossible. Like, it's not impacting fully vaccinated people. These are people who have not gotten vaccinated at this point. And we are now about to be close to August. And there are still people out here where the vaccinations are around. I mean, I remember at one point it was a little shaky about access to vaccines and all this. But if you want a vaccination at this point, you know, if you're in a major city like Philadelphia, if you want to call me, hit me up. Well, you don't got my number, but DM me on Instagram. Say, hey, listen, Ernest. Like, I will respond to that. A lot of people respond to me, send me messages. Like, I can't read everything, right? I can read some stuff. I may like it or heart it, but I don't have time. I'm writing a book. I'm trying to finish my final chapter. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, I'm doing work. But if you're somebody who's like, look, I need to get vaccinated. I don't know where to get a vaccine in Philadelphia. I need help with that. By all means, I will point you to the right direction. That I will do. Because that's my contribution. Matter of fact, listen, it is no excuse in Philadelphia, okay? There's no excuse in other areas, major cities, all right? Get a vaccine. Please get a vaccine. Please get one. Because we was doing so good. And let me be clear with you. I believe we can reverse this again by my wedding. We're at that 90-day mark. I need y'all to turn it around, because I don't want to be at a wedding with everybody with damn masks on their face. I don't want that to be the case, especially given that my wedding party is fully vaxxed. But I would hate that there would have to be that need, or people feel like they have to do that. Like, come on, people. Get it the fuck together. Please. Please. Please get vaccinated. Please get vaccinated. Please. You know, it's too much going on. And it's like, I've heard all kind of metaphors, but the best one I think about is a group of people who failed to study for the exam. And because some of those people failed to study for the exam, it fucked our average off. I remember when I was at Penn and I was younger, and we would take these tests with grade curves and like econ and all these things. There was like grade curves, and like everybody would have to take the test, and the way the grade average would be set up, it would be like, if whatever the lowest mark that you get on that grade curve, it will fuck up the curve. It's been many years since I've had to deal with shit like that, but I would just remember that I would be so annoyed when those people who did not study or did not give it their best attempt on the exams, that the curve would fuck up the average, and it would just mess it up for people like folks like me who's a little bit higher. Anyway, I just feel like that's how it is with this pandemic. There's a lot of people like myself that striving to make that A, right? Striving to be well during the pandemic, right? I have not gotten it. knocking on wood and table. I'm grateful. I'm blessed to be in this great health. Keeping up with myself, staying home as much as possible. But I'm privileged in that way to do that, to work from home. But to my service workers and folks, but these other people out here who out here spinning out these conspiracy theories, keep on acting like they're above the fray and thinking that they can get away with not getting vaccinated. I need you to get vaccinated. I really do. All this air traveling, all these flights, people just really think they're fucking above it until they are not. And it's sad and it's selfish and it hurts people. Like, this shit is real. I'm seeing people still die. Even though the numbers are going down. Let's be clear. It's not where it used to be. But that don't mean that they can't be. All right? We was doing so good. Part of me feel like, man, Joe Biden shouldn't have got everybody all excited. Okay? President Biden, with that 4th of July, talking about independence from the... he got people too motherfucking excited. He was showing up and showing out. And mind you, it wasn't a super spreader event, mind you, right? It wasn't like what happened in a Rose Garden or whatever when Trump was president. But the fact is that so many of us saw that and thought, okay, we're all good. But we weren't. And what's interesting about this whole Delta variant situation is that now the GOP is on board. Now the Republicans are like now on board talking about getting vaccinated and telling people the importance of being vaccinated. Mitch McConnell out here talking about avoiding lockdowns, get vaccinated, and we need more people too. And Sean Hannity was on TV talking about he believes in science and vaccinations. Really, really interesting. But you know what? I think the reason why, and this is just me thinking out loud, I personally think that the reason why Republicans or these conservatives on Fox News and others are now telling people about this, about getting vaccinated, is because they don't want to take the responsibility. Like, I think Rupert Murdoch called somebody must have called and said, listen, motherfuckers, y'all better shut that shit down with that vaccine talk. These fucking numbers are going up. The stock market is the lowest it's been in several months because of the fuckery. You better cut it out because now we're losing money. Knock it off. And I think that that's where we're at now, where people are just like, listen. And mind you, all these rich people that are talking all this shit about the vaccine and liberties and stuff, a lot of these motherfuckers are fully vaxxed. Like, Trump saying all this shit. But Trump got it, and Trump made sure his ass had antibodies and things in his system. So it's very interesting how everybody want to talk, but the main ones talking are people who themselves have gotten vaccinated. So shut that shit up. And I think the problem is that they're realizing that that type of ignorance and fear-mongering is not helping anyone. It never was. But because the Republicans and the GOP establishment want so badly to be a contrarian to the Democrats or anyone with any common sense, they got to keep pushing this ignorance and this misinformation to keep people invested in the lie. Now it's hurting their bottom lines, and now they're trying to, change course and do a 180. Nah, we remember all of the rhetoric and all of the bullshit. Now all of a sudden everybody got to get vaccinated. So see, just get it done, y'all. So now we're into grifting, right? As you all know, Whitey on the moon, okay, several Whiteys on the moon actually, but really Whitey on the moon, Jeff Bezos, he's now former Amazon CEO, multi-billionaire, allegedly the richest man, okay, in the world now? Yes, richest man in the world, okay. Jill Scott Heron said it, Whitey on the moon, right? Listen to that. Listen to those words. Take in the message of those lyrics, because that's what we see here. That's what we're seeing right now. You got that other guy who owns Virgin or whatever, who also, I guess everyone's talking about the surface of the Earth. They went to space or something, the surface of space or whatever the fuck they were on. But they went to space or something close to it, but it was, it's kind of blurry what the hell they really did. But they got their little rockets up there, Blue Origin and all of this, and took their asses to space, Mr. Bezos. And, of course, there were some historic folks that got on that ride. A woman who was denied decades ago got to be the oldest person, I think at 89 years old, or the oldest woman to go to space with Bezos. So, all that semblance. But Interesting enough, this motherfucker has like no heart. Like clearly Bezos does not have a heart, or somebody like took out any level of intelligence from him. He thanked the employees and the customers of Amazon and thanked them because he said they paid for this. Fuck you. Fuck you as a customer, unfortunately, of Amazon, right? During the pandemic, it was hard to not support Amazon, even though, it was terrible. And it's one of the few things of complicity I partake in that I struggle with and get annoyed with. I just wish I didn't have to rely on Amazon. But when you monopolize every fucking item and thing on the planet at low prices, it's hard, right? The one thing I can say I'm proud of is that I have for 10 years have divested from Walmart. I haven't bought anything from Walmart in 10 years. I haven't gone to Walmart. I don't even know what the Walmarts, I still remember what the Walmarts looked like in my childhood because I grew up and I spent many summers in Arkansas and I grew up in Texas. And growing up, I lived on Highway 6, and behind the Highway 6, there was a Walmart that was there. Like a superstore, version market. You know how Walmart has different, if you still know about Walmarts, they were like mini versions and things like a supermarket, and they would try to make different variations of their stores that would cater to like either family shopping or wholesale shopping, Sam's Club and all that stuff. But anyway, I grew up, Walmart was like a big ass store. It was a thing, right? Air conditioned, samples of food, a huge library of books and movies. And I remember growing up and being at Walmart like how I used to want to be at Barnes & Noble. When I could get to Barnes & Noble, I would spend like hours at Barnes & Noble. And there was a Barnes & Noble not too far on the highway because I would like go to like there was like a whole strip, like plaza strip of stores and things. So I would go to Barnes & Noble sometimes on weekends. And I would literally be there, and I was one of these people that would like read a book and didn't buy the book, but I should, but I was young, and I would read a book for like hours on end and like go back. And I would just pick like a Saturday or Sunday, and I would go and like hide in one of the like spaces of the store where they wouldn't see me or they wouldn't care to see me. And I would just be reading a book, reading all the good books. I used to be all into the books. I would watch TV, like stuff. I was reading grown-up books like Living History with Hillary Clinton. Like, she was Hillary Rodham Clinton. Okay, I remember Hillary Rodham Clinton, and I would read that. I read those Left Behind books. Do y'all remember those? Maybe that's taking it back. Those Left Behind books were so dramatic and so problematic, but juicy. I read that. Chronicles of Narnia. Read that. Harry Potter. Always read those. I would get into my books. Archimedes Fowl. Yeah. But I used to be a bookworm. I used to just make it a point to read. I didn't go every day because I was like, if you go every day, they will see you. But I would go every Saturday. I remember the chapters I would read, but I would go through them like clockwork, some of those books. But, Walmart was like that too. But see, Walmart, I could never get into books there. But what I would do at Walmart is, oh my God, when CDs were a thing, I used to love me a CD. Ooh, I used to love the CDs. And I would go and listen to all the samples of the CDs and figure out which ones I like. And I remember they used to sell singles. I used to remember when they would have CDs on sale. I never forget when they had a Ben selling Sierra CDs, like when she was like, her career was like not popping, when she kind of fell off a little bit. They were like $3 for Ashanti and Sierra CDs. I think this is terrible. Anyway, but that was the era we was in, right? And I used to buy CDs and DVDs when they were super, super cheap, sale. That was life. But anyway, don't go there anymore. I haven't been in a Walmart in years. Philadelphia has Walmarts, but I've never felt inclined to go to them. I try to shop as local as I can, but Amazon is the devil. So that's where we're at. So he thanked those employees that he never really paid decent wages to, poor working conditions, but at the same time, he was thanking them for sending his billionaire ass on a fucking spaceship, in a spaceship that looked like a dick that's clearly bigger than anything he's ever had on his body. And it was quite interesting. For real. So, the biggest shocker, right, that came from all of this talk about Bezos and all that, is that Jeff decided he wanted to give some gifts. So apparently gave out $200 million apparently in charity, which is fucking crumbs to the number of billions and billions of dollars this bastard has. But $200 million he wants to give out in charity. Okay? And so he gives $100 million to some courage and integrity award, I guess it was, to motherfucking Van motherfucking Jones. $100 million he gives to him that he has to give to charity. So let's be clear, because I know there's speculation that Van Jones wants him some Kim Kardashian. Kim, if you're listening to this podcast, which you're probably not, sweetheart, if Van Jones try to holler at you, because he backdoor trying to get at you because Kanye is no longer in the mix. That's what the streets are saying. I just can imagine what is actually happening. But in the event that you thought that this man would be anything of substance, understand that this man is not a 100 millionaire. This man has to give this money to charity. He has to give it to foundations and nonprofits. Okay, who he gives this money to, we don't know. But Jeff Bezos decided to give this asshole the option to give this to charity and causes that he care about. So now this man has now trumped Shaun King as being the biggest grifter in the black community as of right now. Mind you, Shaun King is not a black man, but as far as grifting in the black community, I think Shaun King was definitely high ranked. Now Van Jones has now beat him on the charts at number one. Because now what's going to happen is you're going to see possibly a lot of people tap dance for this damn money. I'm thinking, maybe some HBCUs, maybe some of these other foundations that are now going to do it. This man is now going to now be protected because he's going to have money at his arsenal to do some fucked up shit. This man has $100 million to now basically king himself as being in charge of the blacks. I mean, that's really what this is about. This man has money that he has to give away. Okay, now this man is going to have the ability to do more money, give away more money than many of your favorite celebrities that are multimillionaires. I will bet you that Van Jones giving $100 million is more money than Beyonce has given, and she's a billionaire. More money than Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, Diddy has given. I mean, hell, has Oprah given over $100 million away? I hope she has. I hope the Queen may have, right? But he is going to be giving away more money than many of these celebrities who are multimillionaires, and many of them are now billionaires. This man, they said recently that LeBron James is apparently worth $1 billion now. Whoa. Okay, one of the richest living, sitting, current NBA players. That's wild. I don't know how I feel about billionaires. I'm still debating how I feel about billionaires and all philanthropy in general. I mean, I've had an awakening recently from people in my comments. Bree Newsome, who is a civil rights icon, activist icon. She climbed up and took that damn Confederate flag down, okay? She responded to one of my tweets I posted comparing this to Mackenzie Bezos, who is the ex-wife of Jeff Bezos, who Mackenzie, okay, she gave away $8 billion. She's giving away $8 billion, okay? That is 800 times more money than what her ex-husband gave away. Just so that we're clear. Okay? 800 times more money than what he gave. Okay? She's been giving money to HBCUs, to black and brown organizations and nonprofits, underserved communities. She's cutting these checks. Okay? She's cutting these checks. And she's now, like a chill science teacher now, living her best life. Women just do it better. Clearly, she knows what the assignment is. They didn't have a divorce thing and they had a settlement, and she's doing her thing. Meanwhile, Dr. Dre and his ex-wife has now got an alimony. She's getting $300,000 a month to keep up her lifestyle. I'm not even going to get into it because fuck Dr. Dre. I mean, there's speculation that he's abusive. There's speculations and allegations of him being abusive in the marriage, being a cheater in the marriage, being a problem. So, you know what, Dr. Dre, pay your alimony. Okay, pay your alimony. Who cares if she deserves it or not? I mean, any man that's being trashed like that deserves what's coming to him. At the end of the day, I don't care about these first world problems. What was he going to do with that money anyway? Clearly, he wasn't giving $100 million and things of that nature out here in these communities. So listen, give it to the ex-wife. Maybe she'll do better things with it than what he was doing with it, clearly. Just saying. But back to Van Jones. I just know that this man is about to wag this around like a big old dick that he clearly doesn't have, like Bezos doesn't have with this damn ship. Van Jones is going to really flex. And a lot of people are going to kiss his ass. And this is a man that has been very apologetic and gentle for Donald Trump. This is a man who was besties with, Eric Trump and, hung out with Melania and, hung out with the Trump family and really thought the shit was cute. Taking selfies, acting like he was doing something special. Talking about how this white supremacist that was the commander-in-chief was being presidential. I mean, this man got on CNN and cried like a baby when Kamala got elected and was trying to act like he's happy that decency is in office when you proliferated, promoted, and endorsed this motherfucker for many, many years. So it's been really hard to take Van Jones seriously now, given the fact that he has continued to profit on this ideology of both sides. And when you're somebody that is spending a lot of your energy and your time invested on this both sides logic, who suffers? Marginalized people suffer. Black people suffer, right? And Van has been a sellout, an absolute sellout. Okay, all this reform shit, please. All this praising Republicans on criminal justice reform, acting like they're doing something, please. Okay, I was telling a friend the other day that what's interesting a lot about the whole conversations around criminal justice reform of Republicans and people like Trump is that, of course, Trump was trying to protect criminals and people that he felt like were being wronged by the system because he thinks he's a criminal that thinks he's been wronged by the system. So, and which is not true, clearly. He's going to see his day eventually. It's coming. It's coming. I remind people it's coming. But he's going to see his day. But he thinks that, he's going to, he's thinking about what did Waka Flocka say? Hanging out with the goons and the drug dealers. He's thinking about people that are so, like, white-collar crime. He's not thinking of low levels or black people competency. He's thinking about white-collar crime and finding ways to set people free. I mean, look at the type of people that he commuted, okay, with the exception of one black woman, okay, Miss Mary. Think about, like, Kodak Black. Think about Lil Wayne. Think about some of these other folks that he pardoned, okay, when he had the opportunity. It wasn't like he was out here freeing Mamiya, okay? He was very intentional about the type of black people that he did. And the quid pro quo, right? Because, Lil Wayne came out and endorsed him because Lil Wayne wanted to be free and get his record, cleared for that. Like, there was a quid pro quo the entire time. And we're going to eventually get to this point where we're going to have those conversations. I understand that Kanye's trying to make a comeback. He's got an album out called Donda that he's working on. Jay-Z then came back into the fray, into the fucking mix, into the shit. Like, we just give these trash buckets so much mini-second chances. And, I'll be talking more about that in my book. But these people are never canceled, Kanye, never, right? Kanye got to talk about slavery as a choice, insult Harriet Tubman, say all the craziest things on the planet, and support Trump, and say crazy things about black people. And that was literally a year ago. And now it's like almost like we all just forgot about what happened last year. Like we're just all like, all that mental health conversations and all of that. No. Kanye got a new album, y'all. He's got a stadium. We're just going to act like everything is just normal. He had a divorce not too long ago. His whole life is in fucking schmithers. And he's lying about being a billionaire. Oh, but we can't even do that. So it's just like we just, the hypocrisy. But I just say, I'm prepared for this sellout, this son of a bitch, to just simply go out here and try to push this money and flex and name things and try to make himself this hero and all these fake awards he's going to get. Just like with Jeff Bezos. Like, the day that Jeff Bezos giving somebody a courage or integrity award, you should look sideways. That's as bad as Donald Trump try to give somebody a fucking award for honesty. You better side eye the fuck out of that fucking award. I side-eyed it when I was like, Van, I don't know if I got to talk to what white people, but white people, who do y'all go to when y'all get these recommendations? I mean, you could have gave the $100 million to Stacey Abrams. I mean, Stacey Abrams could have got that $100 million. If you want to give it to somebody that people can agree on. I think a general consensus of black people can agree that Stacey Abrams is an ideal person, a decent person in civility and things, right? You don't got to agree with all of her tactics or ideas, but the mere fact is, I think we could all agree that she's a decent person. And so if Jeff Bezos wanted to give that money to a black woman, right, if it would have gave it to her, that would have been an ideal person to give it to. Not fucking giving it to Van Jones, who's barely an activist, who's a media pundit, who's already rich off of fucking grift. But you know what? They show us who they are all the time, right? The Jeff Bezos of the world, these types of people make white people like him feel like they're inevitable, like they're not a part of the problem when they absolutely are. Listen, not all our skin folk are our kinfolk. Audrey Lorde taught me that. Okay? When I think about people like Van Jones, and I would even dare say that sometimes people like Common, right? They make money trying to make white people comfortable about their allotment and their placement. And there's no real accountability, right? Because they're coming from a place of getting the money and getting paid. And they're going to tell and say whatever they want to say in the name of consultation, in the name of, truth speaking. But it's none of that. It's branding. It's grifting. It's asking for money. It's pretending to be something. Van Jones saw an opening for himself. And I must say that really good, ridiculous, disgusting people are brilliant masterminds and con artists, right? They're people that understand how to build their brand off of trends. And so Van Jones is someone who had that legal background, had that ID. Like, he plays into the I'm a black man, right? So identity politics works in his favor and can be weaponized in this way. I'm a black man, right? I have children. I'm a father, okay? And he uses that identity to then give himself this authority, right? He's well-spoken. He's articulate for white people, right? He doesn't look that bad. I mean, he's not my type, but he doesn't look that bad. So he can be able to wear that suit. He goes in those rooms. He knows how to talk their language. He's married a white woman before. She left him, probably one of the smartest decisions she's made in her entire life. And in that process, understood whiteness in a way that it was a business model for him. He understands whiteness in a way that a lot of black people either don't know or don't give a fuck to know, right? But he sees it as a business plan. So his whole model has been always find that way to have one foot into quote-unquote wokeness, barely, and the other foot into whiteness. So both of his feet got W's, one for whiteness and one for wokeness. And so he played into the reform game. He said, I'm going to be that guy that's going to talk to the most ignorant people. I'm going to talk to the most powerful ignorant people. See, that's the important part. Powerful people with money that are ignorant as fuck are some of the biggest, people that you can squeeze out of, right? You can squeeze the fuck out of them if you stroke their ego. Because all they really want is their ego to be stroked. They really want to feel good. And so he understands that, okay? Which is why he was able to finesse, okay? He is a finesser, okay? You gotta, see, I try to tell people that you gotta not admire, but really get into the finesse, get into the art of the con, because too often we just call these people dumb or stupid and we just dismiss them. No. Van Jones is brilliant in fuckery. He's brilliant in fuckery. He's brilliant in bullshit. He's brilliant in lies. He's brilliant in manipulation. And you have to get into why is he brilliant in what he do? Because in order for you to dismantle something, you have to understand how it operates. And too many of us just be like, fuck him and ignore them. No. When you got $100 million and you get it from billionaires like Jeff Bezos, we got to look at who you are and really unpack that. Because I have to be real with you. At some point in time, I took Van Jones as a joke. I looked at him as a raccoon that was out here in the trash looking for scraps. That's how I looked at Van Jones at one point. So I was like, I see some of the shit he's doing. It was dangerous. But it was always, to me, trigger friendly. But this motherfucker has a gun now. And he's been emboldened by the richest man in the world to give money to our community. That right there is... Jeff Bezos is no fool. He weaponized this man because he knows what type of black man Van Jones is. He's a puppet. He's like, I know that this man will take this money and spread my gospel to clear my image. Because Bezos is scared about his image. When you're that on that top of the throne, you don't give a fuck no more about your own awards and accolades. You care about how you go down the books. He doesn't want to go down the books as an exploitative pig who fucking created one of the biggest, most successful companies in the world and treated all the workers and made sure they did not get paid shit. And then he basically ruined the economy as we know it. He doesn't want to go into history like that in the books. But unfortunately, Bezos, that will be your legacy unless you decide to give all your money away to charity tomorrow and decide to take a step back and go live a life in exile. Outside of that, you are going to be that exploitative pig that you wish you would not be. Period. And giving $100 million to Van Jones only made it worse. So we'll keep an eye on where this money is going to go and what Van Jones is going to do with it. We'll see if Kim Kardashian's into it as well. That's what they're saying. Listen, I'm not making it up. Everybody thinks Van Jones wants Kim, and he's trying to do whatever he can to try to get in her good graces because he's thirsty. I don't put it past him. I don't put a lot of things past him. But let's be clear, right? Let's look at this in full totality because this is the Grifter episode. Let's just call it what it is. This is the Grifter episode. Somebody that is doing what Van Jones is doing Van Jones is now officially doing this on a macro level. But on a micro level, but rising, is Emmanuel Acho. I've talked about Emmanuel Acho briefly when I was discussing some of the drama with The Bachelor. And this man has not gone away. I thought he was going to fade into obscurity after The Bachelor as a special host and his little corny videos. But no, Emmanuel Acho is getting a platform, y'all. Like, people are amplifying his fuckery. I mean, he's gotten connections with Oprah, Super Soul, or book clubs and things. Like, Oprah's kind of amplified him a little bit, right? Which we know, Oprah's amplified me to a certain degree. So I know the power of Oprah. The Oprah effect is real. But in some cases, I look at Oprah and I love her. And I'm going to always think of good things about her. But, sometimes she promotes trash. And that's just what it is. Tyler Perry has become legitimized by the industry because of her cosign. It's one of the most heartbreaking things a celebrity has ever done to me. And I personally felt offended. I will say there's not that many celebrities have disappointed me because a lot of them don't matter to me. I don't care about them enough to. But I think about Rihanna and how Rihanna, did her Diamond Ball. She gave that award to Sean King and acknowledged him. Oh my God, that broke my heart. I will tell you something. I can forgive Rihanna for a lot of things. And, some of those things is like when she did that collaboration with Chris Brown, she did the birthday cake song, and I was like, girl, what are you doing? But I knew she was going through it. I knew she was going her own way. But I rode out with Rihanna, okay? I've loved Rihanna in all of her bad acting. Sometimes her acting isn't superb, Battleship was... But I love her. I love her. I still do. She's still one of my, favorite all-time pop artists. She just... I love her. But she has, her co-sign of Sean King at her Diamond Ball broke my heart a couple years ago. But Oprah, she, sometimes I think she sees good trends. She supports black people, but sometimes some of the people she be supporting. I'm like, Tyler Perry, we will never, this man will never go away now because of the fact that she has given him the cosign. And so he's just not going to go away, sadly. He just won't. So Emmanuel Acho has now gotten in some level. I think it's easy for him to go away. He could go away. I mean, listen, Terry McMillan is going away somewhere, okay? And Oprah gave her a cosign many, many years ago. Rihanna, fix her life. She out here still. Van Sant, she's still out here.
Rachel Ray is still out here. Dr. Phil's still out here. Damn, Oprah. You gave some, some of these cosigns. But with Emmanuel, though, what is annoying about him is that I think he's going to fall into that Mark Lamont Hill without the ability to be strategic, though, because he lacks strategy. So for those who don't know who Emmanuel Acho is, he is a man who used to be, I guess, a former athlete. And he, kind of rose to prominence with this whole uncomfortable conversations with a black man, which he likes to spend conversations with white people, specifically white men mostly, and talk to them about race in the most basic, elementary ways. I don't know who made him an expert on race. I don't know what kind of theoretical, educational lens or critical race theory lens he's coming and applying to this. I don't know what scholars he's read. I don't know what education he's gotten to understand race as a construct and to really unpack it. I don't know where he comes from. And see, this is the problem with Emmanuel Achos in the world. And I don't want to take a moment to say this. Is because the conversations around race, that is an academic lens. There's a space for that. Like, you just can't just be like, I'm a black person, I've been profiled. Yes, that is an anecdotal experience. But what we're seeing too often in conversations about race is that it's not through a theoretical, educational lens, research, academic. We don't talk about race in ways that explain a real body of work, critical theory, an understanding and a framework that has been well researched by plenty of black people over the decades. No, we talk about it as this very personalized, anecdotal, personal narrative story, right? It's very, one day a white man was nice to me and gave me a hug, and racism is over. Like, that's how we treat this topic when it's deeper than that. Like, when we think about the things we talk about, right? We'll talk about capitalism, and we'll talk about, Marxism and socialism, and we'll talk about the economy. And there's always theoretical language and understandings that we cite and reference, supply and demand, terms we use. And we come from that from a real respectable framework. But for whatever reasons, okay, and I think it's just really deeply anti-blackness, that we don't talk about race in that way. We don't challenge people who call themselves, quote unquote, race experts. We don't push back on what makes them feel like they have an authority to discuss this, right? Because we talk to economists about the economy, right? We talk to theologians about theory and about religion, right? We talk to theologians, right, about faith and the intersections of that. Archaeologists about art, about bones and skeletons. We talk to doctors. We talk to educators. We talk to the scholars and people about these respective fields everywhere else. But when it comes to race, we just think talking to the black dude across the street is our complete understanding and total understanding about the topic and the concept. So there's a lot of people that have profited, okay? Like, when you want to talk about race hustling, that's really the race hustling. It's not activists. It's not people that do this shit for a living with integrity. It's people like Emmanuel Acho that basically thinks that he could wake up one day, not kick a ball, right? Whatever, that's your choice. And just simply think that he can just apply some of his experiences around race and create an entire curriculum and book and understanding about a topic without really thoroughly citing your motherfucking sources, knowing where to get legitimate understanding about the conversation, and selling people snake oil. And there's a lot of consultants and people out here, even people with PhDs, that do not take the time to study race as an actual academic study. Like, I studied race in college, right? I read books like Pedagogy of the Press and got into critical race theory. Met some of these theorists in person. I met Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw in person. I've read books from Brian Stevenson. I've read, oh my goodness, work from Tyler, Bell Hooks and so many other people. Salamisha Tillett, Feminista Jones. There's books about race, lectures about social media and race and feminism. It's Moya Bailey. Okay, let's talk about misogynoir. These are real concepts. Bell Hooks, like I said, it's so many people that do great research and really grapple with these topics. And it's just frustrating that there's people like Emmanuel Acho that's making bank, profiting off of, number one, none of the things he is saying is fresh, new, remarkable, groundbreaking, or any of that. None of it is. Let's be very clear. But he has found a way to brand himself as the black token that can be palpable to white people. And so there was a great piece that came out in Deadspin by Karan Phillips, who I know personally, who really unpacked the issues with Emmanuel Acho and how guys like him don't want to engage with journalists, right? Black journalists, right? People like myself and others about race and about what he's doing, right? He'll sit up on his podcast and talk to these random ass dudes and people like Matt Barnes and folks like that don't know nothing about what he's talking about because he wants to be the smartest guy in the room. He likes to be the guy in the room that can tell dumbasses about things that are very surface, basic level that he doesn't even know about. And that's his hustle, is avoiding that accountability, divorcing himself from any type of responsibility to actually pick up a real book and to understand what any of this is. But that's the same thing with Van Jones, right? Van Jones is clearly more strategic than him, clearly knows it better, right? He knows the book better. But Emmanuel is just going off of ad-libs and personal thoughts and making himself likable and palpable to a lot of people who don't like to hear, at least white people, right? Don't want to hear that they're fucked up, right? Because part of the reality of growing and developing is also receiving feedback that isn't going to tell you that you're great or make you feel good. It's going to sometimes make you uncomfortable, right? But you say that these are uncomfortable conversations with a black man, but when you look at a lot of his stuff, it's basic. I remember seeing a viral video that he did one time, a couple of years ago, I think on YouTube, and it was with him with Matthew McConaughey talking about race. And I said to myself, I could have saw paint dry in my house that would have been more compelling than Matthew McConaughey put on that little southern accent, acting like he knows something that he couldn't have already found out somewhere else. Matthew McConaughey could have read a book on anti-blackness and learned way more. And it's kind of sad because the Emmanuel Achos of the world is trying to remove people from books and from any actual real academic or standard information about these topics. He's more so doing the take my word on it or acting like he speaks on behalf of a monolith, or he is coming from this place of, I just want to set the room and set the bar, right? So there is a true disadvantage that black people get from that. Because then there's white people that will go and say, oh my goodness, Emmanuel Acho said this on his video, so now I think it's okay for this. And I've had some white people, only a few, that would reference him, and I would say, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. I'm dead ass. I have been in situations where someone said, there's this guy, oh my God, he's so nice. And he's got this video, and he was talking about, oh, who are you talking about? Oh, his name is Emmanuel Acho. Don't know him. Don't recommend him. Don't. You know, you got to hit them with that, y'all. Because if you got white colleagues or friends or whomever in your circle, and they talking about referencing or co-signing or agreeing with problematic black folks, you listen, you ain't got to tear people down in front of white people. Whatever. But steer them the right way. Direct them to somebody who's actually doing the real work. Reference other people in your circle. You know? Point them to a better text, if so. So I had someone say to me, I've read Uncomfortable Conversations, you know, Uncomfortable Conversations, and it made me think, and I said, listen, that's cool and all, but have you taken a chance to read, you know, Eloquent Rage by Brittany Cooper? Have you taken a chance to read that? I mean, there's other books that's out here that is more stimulating and insightful. So you know, I hear you. But thought this might be good information to you. You know, I just wanted to put that out there. So that's what I do. And what I've realized is that, you know, anybody who critiques people like him, we're called haters. Oh, we're called haters. Of course we're called haters because, you know, that's all they can say, right? But I want to be very clear. The day I'm looking like a clown on sports channels saying xenophobic shit. The day that I am on TV having to eat my words, okay, on national television, when it comes to certain MVPs that are winning for the Bucks, that's the day that I will change the course on how I position myself as being a hater or not, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about Mr. Acho. So, one of our favorite friends on this show, Mr. Sean King. And I gotta say, I feel like the tide is turning on Sean King. I sense it is. I could be wrong, but I think the tide is changing. It's like, I mean, new grifts are coming. You know what I'm saying? And I just think some things are going on. And it's catching up to him. I really think something's going on. I've been behind the scenes following some of this stuff. You know, he's in a legal battle right now pertaining to allegations of slander and whatnot in Philadelphia with a ex-DA candidate, Carlos Vega, which we was covering the Krasner DA race. And he's doing a lot of interesting things. So he's really been off of social media, and he says he's taking a break for a month, but he's no longer on Twitter right now. Like, he's completely off of Twitter. I think he deactivated his account, but he's completely off social media. And the internet was going crazy a couple of days ago when this news came out. I mean, I was shook. And I was happy. You know, I was like, okay, good. Because when you start, like, deactivating, and he was already deleting previous tweets. When you start doing these type of things, it begins to show that the pressure is on. It shows you that there's something going on the surface of, like, this shit is fucking real. The pressure is real. And a lot of people work to get that motherfucker off Twitter. Listen, he might come back in a month and do his grift again, but the fact that this motherfucker got off, okay, he wants to claim, he wants to take a vacation, all this shit. Man, you've been taking vacations for years. The fact that you had to deactivate that Twitter account is a message that the work, the resistance, the Block Sean King movement is happening. It's happening, y'all. It's happening. And it's getting more real. So, you know, this man can't stop grifting, because what would he do without it? He was asking for funds for his wife's birthday. He also, there's a message circulating around where he was telling people, you know, I love the Caribbean. I know it has all of its own struggles and faults, though. I've been deeply appreciative of your support across the years. My family and I have been to Haiti many times and all over Jamaica and St. Lucia, but hope to visit your hometown as well. I honestly think that the Caribbean is one of the single most important places for freedom and independence in the world, and hope to support you however I can. I love to learn more about how I can support your struggles for equality and civil rights, and I love to share with you more about my world and view. Love and appreciate you all, your friend and brother, Sean. That's apparently a message he sent to someone. Interested in going to the Caribbean. Let me tell y'all something. If he's trying to take his shit there, it's crazy. So here's the crazy part. On social media, he just recently messaged and said, "Good morning to the entire Caribbean. This is Sean. The only people who see this post are currently in the Caribbean right now. What I'm about to tell you will sound like a wild conspiracy theory, but I assure you that it's true. For years now, every post I make here on Facebook has been hounded and sworn by trolls, often pretending to be Americans, tearing apart every word I say and post that I make. But last week, my team and I discovered nearly 50,000 accounts that were set up in India, Pakistan, Indonesia, and Nigeria simply to troll me. We believe they're being paid by other countries or companies. We then ran tests by making posts like this one that only people currently in certain countries can see. And the spam and negativity and trolling almost completely disappeared because the troll farms counteracted to attack me just can't see these posts. And the COVID restrictions have only made that even stronger. I am going to use this feature often. I don't know how long it will take for them to catch on, but until then, I am so glad to connect with each of you. So, the grifter continues. International grifting it is. And what's interesting about that, right, because I got those receipts, is that he's now in a space where he is now about to target particular countries and areas of people in ways that does not allow for people. Because see, he could talk about fucking bot farms and shit. The man has tried to block every single motherfucker who's come at him and talk shit. The thing is that now he's trying to now curate unique ways to directly post and target certain groups and pretty much not America, right? So if he's in other countries and other places, he's trying to experiment with this to get a sense of how we can connect. It's not going to work. And I mean maybe for fundraising purposes, he might convince some of these people to give him money, but the ability to try to dismiss the reputation, people are going to catch on to it. And clearly, people like me already see it because you're asking to support and you're... Who in the Caribbean is asking for your support? What are you doing? Right? It's just too weird. I mean, he was going to Disney World or going somewhere with family. It's just a lot of weirdness there. But we all know what it's going to. Something about... He has to change his entire approach because things are getting to his ass. It's somebody has cut him off. Somebody major, some deal. We'll find out eventually. But there's something I think that is, in my opinion, this is my predictions and observations, but something has really deeply impacted his work. The pushing and the resistance of the movement is showing that they're starting to call him out for some of his problematic ways. And that is making people become even more suspicious of him, which I think inevitably is going to impact him for the long run. Listen, heavy lies the crown. Everybody wants to be in these positions of power, ask for all this money, but then when people ask you what you're doing with the money, you want to then flinch. It don't work that way. You got to own your shit. You got to do your part. And I think that that's something that he's not getting. But, it's coming, y'all. I just have a feeling that something is coming for him. Because I'm it's that thing where you at a level of calm. You ever been in that place where you used to be so tense? Like when I used to hear him, I used to just be, because he's such a horrible person. But now I just hear his name, I'm just like, okay. And maybe because Van Jones then out, grifted him, out finessed him in the fuckery. So now he's not even high ranking anymore. Because could you imagine if Jeff Bezos gave Sean King that money? I bet you. Well, I think that, he likes his grifters to be wearing suits. But in another world, Sean King would have been that ideal person. But I think clearly Bezos did his research and Van Jones seems to be a better piece of trash, right? Every trash can needs a lid, and I think, Van Jones was that. But Sean King, one would have imagined would have been that person maybe a couple years ago before he was really being dragged out. So that's very telling. But let's get into the real telling things. So, Darius Crooks. I've been talking about Darius Crooks for a couple of podcast episodes, and some of you all have been wanting to know more, and I've been doing research, and I have something to say. I am doing a big story for the Daily Beast, which I contribute to a lot, about this man. I hadn't taken the time to really delve into the receipts. And let me be very clear. There's a lot of receipts that are still out there that y'all, it's so many.
even the thought is idiotic. It's so many. It's exhausting. But what I've done with the piece that I'm writing for Daily Beast is compile them. Compile the major receipts, the things that I think people should know that really hits at the surface who this man is. And there's some great reporting that's out there in the Southern Grit magazine. Black Enterprise did a really good story. Forbes did a story about some of the people. But I just want to really shout out Sunny Anderson. Need to just definitely, she is a world-renowned cook on Food Network, chef, entrepreneur, Black woman who's doing some great work. But really, on social media, Angela the Kitchenista Davis. Yes, Angela Davis, but Angela the Kitchenista Davis, let's be clear. Who has used her platform on Twitter to really, really give him that work. And to all of those, Black women and men and those who have worked for a business connected to Darius Williams, because I'm going to say his real name right now, his government name, Darius Williams. It's important. Thank you all for sharing and being brave. Even those who spoke anonymous and talked to me for background, and just other folks that spoke. It's thank you for sharing your stories to the public. Thank you for talking to the press. Thank you for sharing on social media, because all of those things makes it possible to get to a point where we can really affect change and stop it. But it's a damn shame, and I don't want to give away too much of my story, but I'm going to talk about some of these things, these highlights. But it's a damn shame that we see that Black women have to consistently go out there and be the first on the front lines, okay, calling out this bullshit, talking about these problems, these issues, and I can only imagine how exhausting it is. I mean, I feel for people like Sunny. I feel for people like, Angela the Kitchenista, because as somebody who's been doing that with Sean King, I know what it feels like to be gaslighted. I know what it feels like for people to question your motives and your integrity and all these things because you decide to call out somebody in the community that you find is problematic and doing toxic things. And everybody say they want the truth until it's time to actually provide the receipts. And once you pull out those receipts, then everybody gets defensive. Everybody gets scared. Everybody wants to change the narrative. Everybody want to deflect. Everybody want to, make 1,000 excuses. Like, it's because I think a part of it is that people see themselves in the fuckery. People see themselves in the fraud. And also, some people don't want to feel like they've been bamboozled. Nobody wants to feel like they got hoodwinked. Okay? And I see things like that all the time. So, I just want to start that off. But I just want to, tell my listeners more about him, because I've done some digging and read some receipts. And I think what people have to understand is that, Darius Crooks, Darius Williams, okay? He's from Chicago. And I was born in Chicago. He's also a Black gay man. I'm also a Black gay man. He's not as attractive as me. He's much a little older. But he is interesting because this drama with him goes all the way back to really 2011, like 10 years ago, okay? This man was like an unknown Chicago food blogger on social media. And in 2011, Sunny Anderson, okay, she's this Black cookbook author. She's a co-host. She's got a show on Food Network called The Kitchen. She had a show called Cooking for Real. She's got a platform. She was the queen. And, in her own right, still is in that space. But she gave him a shot in 2011. Basically, giving him this opportunity to be on her show. He was on 2 episodes. And, everything was good. Things got sour because what happened with him is that he wanted her to invest in this grocery delivery service. He had this failed grocery delivery service known as Fresh To Go. And this is like a business venture that he had. I'm not going to get into all the messiness of that, but to just say that, long story short, he was out here misleading people. People was paying into it. People wasn't getting money. Shit got messy. People started hitting up, Sunny about it, being like, yo, Sunny, what's up with this project? And she's like, what you talking about? Because she declined. She turned down the offer to be involved with it. She rejected it from him. He, on the other end, basically was, giving people the impression
that she was affiliated with it. And so attaching her brand. And he claimed that he wasn't doing this, but receipts showed otherwise, that he was out here promoting. He was even acting like he wasn't promoting the business, but he was making promises that shit wasn't even working. So a lot of stuff was going on, and Sunny has spoken about this numerous times, and her and, of course, Darius have clashed about it in the past. So this was the early strike. This was the early hold up, like that Nate Dogg part in that song in the next episode, hold up. That was the moment where we should have been like, what? But you gotta remember, this is 2011, honey. Okay? This is when, nobody was listening to black women at all. This is before Black Lives Matter movement took off. This is before the Me Too movement. This is when we still had Obama, okay, in his first term, and people thought post-racial society existed. A lot of motherfuckers would get away with shit they shouldn't have been getting away with. It still is, but, it ain't the same, right? Twitter was still fresh, still very new. We were still trying to figure out how to use it. So all the call-out accountability, we didn't have all of that, okay? So it was easy for someone like him to do what he was doing back in the day. Look at me, 10 years ago. But 10 years ago make a difference. But the thing about him was that over the years, because of that, he did these things, and it was being whispered about, right? Black women was talking. See, black women always be known, right? They knew about R. Kelly. They knew about Sean King, right? They knew about Van Jones. They knew about Emmanuel Acho. Ha! Look at me, sound like a pastor. Just go on this. They know about these men. Okay? They knew about them. Can I get an amen? They knew about them. Black women knew. But over the years, though, he began to build a brand, okay? This man got over 3 million followers across his Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and some people think he done bought some of them followers or whatnot. I ain't gonna get into all that. At the end of the day, when you got a reputation, people calling you a comment, anything is speculative to live, okay? Anything can be speculated. I'm just saying. What's important to note, though, and also textbook scamming 101, is that this man is not classically trained. This man does not, I don't know what his certifications are in cooking. I've seen some of his recipes, as you all know in previous episodes, that I don't think the man can cook. Okay, I don't think he could cook. I saw some of the things he's made, and I just was like, look, I could cook too. But, I'm cooking from the same, hand-me-downs of family and friends and looking online and remixing shit. But this shit he's cooking, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he measures. He doesn't proportion his shit. He refers to salmon as salmon. Okay, let's just start there. He's using sweet red, like not even real wine in his recipes. His lasagna's got collard greens in it. The man can't cook. Okay? All right? I don't know. Some people like that kind of food. And let me be very clear. You talking about somebody who lives in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We got a woman in Philadelphia named Sadia Schuler who's got a company called Country Cooking. And this woman puts 12 eggs in her mac and cheese. And black folks in the city think that she's a good cook. Some of them do. Okay? So I know that there are people that like nasty food. There are people that like nasty food. There are people that like nasty soul food. And as somebody from the South, I am highly offended, okay, by some of the recipes I've seen, okay? And then even the ones that do look good, I find out that's not even from your recipe book. You done stole that from somebody else's shit, and he's been called out for that as well. So even when the shit be good, the shit don't even be his. And the shit that isn't his is horrible. But I think it's important to note that. So he's been building a reputation. And again, not classically trained, but the truth of the matter is that he always has been citing his grandmother's cooking lessons. So he's been, touting that, he's got his recipes from his grandmother. And so that's that sentimental American, that's that American pull yourself up out of bootstraps type of logic. It's that everyone loves a good story. See, every con man has a great story. If you ask Van Jones, if you ask Emmanuel Acho, they have these very prominent, insightful stories about how they came to be. And every hero's, or villain, right, has an interesting origin, right? So we're compelled as people by these types of narratives. And so it's sentimental, it's soft, nice chocolate velvety man that is bald, looks harmless, got a silver tongue, bearded, old comfort man.
telling these stories about grandma. It melts your heart if you don't know that he's a fucking sociopath per se, right? One could argue. So that image, that he's had. I mean, he claims he's a millionaire. People said they have not seen the receipts. He likes to tout that he's a millionaire. I will say this. I don't know that many millionaires that have to go. I always find that in financial literacy, and when I see a lot of this, and this is my personal opinion, when I see a lot of people running around talking about they're a millionaire, this how I got to be a millionaire, I just always side eye because I'm looking like, are you just a one millionaire? Like you just got $1 million, so you just felt like you got to stop everything and I just be like, what is okay? Like I would just wonder. Like I mean, there are some people that by default they have so much money and wealth that they don't even have to themselves put that out there. Like it will show up in their own, projects, and people will find out in other ways. I just think it's tacky when people try to profit off the promotion. Like, listen, people get good paid salary. You got a 6-figure job, whatever you got, whatever the case is, good, awesome. I think that's cool, right? But to just try to censor your identity based on it, I think it's weird. And most of the time, people that do that don't really have it. They don't really have that much money. And if they do, it's fast, it's quick, it's nothing super substantial. Because you can just tell by people's taste and style sometimes. There's just ways. That's another story for another day. I don't personally think he's a millionaire. I think he's lying. That's my opinion. But, like I said, recently, right? Why are we talking about him today? Why does he fucking matter now, right? Because I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, why does Darius Crooks matter now? Well, last year, okay, things really got weird. Okay, this man owns multiple restaurants. He owns, this restaurant called, I forget what it was called, Soul Crab Atlanta, Soul Crab Chicago, and Greens and Gravy in Atlanta. That was that is the restaurants that he owned. They all got shut down abruptly. Okay, they all got shut down abruptly. And another business that he had. So for those keeping up, we know this. See, every time I look at a grifter, right, they got their hands in different types of plates. They never keep one thing. Like Sean King's got his hands in political PACs. He got his hands in this green field or this greenwood or whatever, social justice thing. He's got his hands in. He's got his hands in books, public speaking. He's got his hands in but a lot of grifters oftentimes have their hands in multiple things that will get you dizzy. And oftentimes they don't connect or complement each other. A lot of times they are random. What the fuck is this? So for those keeping track, he had a failing grocery business in his beginning of his rise that kind of went under. But then this is when it gets weird. These 3 restaurants closed down. But the crazy part about it is that this happens around the same time that another business of his that promised to repair people's credit was hit with a 6-figure fine in Georgia. Okay? And that was the same time where he abruptly shuttered his 3 restaurants. And a lot of people on social media began to accuse him of all types of things. But this is what started it, right? So the problem is that he has a company called Above 701 Inc. Okay? And he agreed in December to a $145,750 settlement. And this is allegations discovered by the Georgia Department of Law, Consumer Protection Division of This was discovered by the Georgia Department of Law, Consumer Protection Division, basically because of illegal credit repair activity. So in the state of Georgia, credit repair companies and businesses, you can't fucking do. You can't do them because there are other services and opportunities and resources that people can get in other ways. And so people that try to do credit repair, it's just considered a scam because there's other ways and means that people can be able to get those things adjusted. And you really technically cannot repair people's credit scores in Georgia based on certain barriers. So you would have to basically lie or promise people things that you can't deliver on. It's a whole thing. And so basically, according to court documents, because I looked up the court documents, okay, that were from December 2019, he was reprimanded by authorities for requesting and accepting payment from consumers for its credit repair services before those services were provided. And he was also in trouble for, quote, making misleading claims that it could get bankruptcies and debts permanently deleted from consumer credit reports without adequately disclosing that negative credit information cannot be erased from a consumer's credit report if the information is accurate. So he basically was out here scamming. That's a scam. He lied. He asked people to give him money for services that he technically could not render in the way in which he was ascribing because it was against the law. And so he paid a six-figure sign. Okay? Six-figure settlement, which included both a customer restitution and a civil penalty. Period. Now, he has tried to diffuse this. He said, look, I paid, my $140. It's over. Everything is cool. He told Black Enterprise. He was like, look, I think they're pulling that from that saying, oh, he's a scammer. But he's like, it's no. The people who are on the roster, their credit scores increased. That ain't the point. And I don't even know if that's true. I don't really believe anything he's saying. But that's not the point. What you did was illegal. You was not supposed to do that. Hell, you coughing up six figures because you could have went to jail. So anyway, the issue is that through time is that people, he was telling people that he closed his places and locations because of a decision related to mental health issues. That's what he told previous publications. But it looks like this is what closed those businesses down, not the mental health. Maybe mental health caused by the financial woes made him close the restaurant down. But they was going to close regardless of his mental health because he cannot afford to maintain them. So mental health aside, those restaurants were going to close because of the financial hurdle he had just got in the middle of. So, again, misleading people. But it doesn't stop there. I mean, there's countless employees. Some of them I've reached out to. Some of them I've talked to for background. Some of them I just had conversations with that spoke to me that worked at Soul Crab Atlanta. Some of them went on social media, sent screenshots, DMs, but just was going about some of the bad things he was doing. I mean, people were claiming that those restaurants were rat infested. There were health code violations, that there was issues with lights and other types of shit. And that some of them had to come out of their own pockets, okay, allegedly to support, this business, to keep the business afloat. He was going on trips to Dubai. He was doing all kind of other things. And they were basically in positions where they had to deal with these health inspectors on site and location, and they had failed. Okay, they was getting slapped with these violations, and that was messing up business. So there is speculation that honestly, these restaurants was gonna get shut down because of health violations. Fuck all the side money issues. It just seemed like other things were being hit and happening. He just was just a bad businessman, according to his former employees and people that posted on social media. So one of the things that really stood out to me was a woman named Kiara Ross. Kiara Ross used to work at Soul Crab Atlanta, which I don't understand that title, but I'm just going to let it rock. She claimed on social media that he never paid her and he physically assaulted her when she confronted him. She's now creating a GoFundMe right now, and she's trying to raise funds to sue him for non-payment and mistreatment. So she talked about how basically she went over to get, her pay, and he put his hands on her in the process in the confrontation. The police were called. Darius claims he called the police, but whatever the case was, the police were brought on the premises. He admitted to Black Enterprise that when he asked to see that camera footage and everything, that he did on camera put his hands on her. He tried to define or adjust it, but at the end of the day, he put his hands on that woman, and he admits to that. Okay. The thing about it, though, was that he wants to emphasize he was not arrested or charged for any crimes. He was not. But all of that being said, it was clear that there was aggression here, that there was physicality here, that at the end of the day, he claims he didn't even know who the woman was, but still, this is what you're doing to a Black woman? I mean, there's stories of another Black woman who was making cakes for him, and she was claiming she was getting paid pennies and was being mistreated when she used to bake his Carolina pound cakes, okay? So she says he can't even cook. She said that she made the cakes herself. that all of these recipes and things that he was claiming and taking on himself, she was the one behind the scenes providing those cakes that he was getting a lot of credit for, and that she wasn't even getting paid hardly any money doing that labor. So shit done got in real, okay? And, you know, as time began to pass, the hashtag Darius Crooks, okay, led by people like the Kitchenista, led by people like Sunny Anderson, you know, also sharing her stories. But the Kitchenista, okay, Angela Davis, this woman is a genius, right? This hashtag is viral. You could go on that hashtag right now and you will see countless, okay, let me be very clear, countless stories and experiences over the years of people dealing with, you know, Darius Crooks or Darius Williams on various platforms, on social media, sharing these stories about their years of him. I mean, we're talking about over a decade of alleged scamming that took place. So many people had complaints about his practices and all of this jazz, man. This shit is real. And so, you know, there are people who are saying things like they've accused him of swiping recipes from other food bloggers, not delivering on what he promised customers who paid for his dinner series. He was involved in dinner series, y'all. And complaints about his business practices with the Better Business Bureau. Okay? And that's just at the tip of it. But the interesting thing about him is that, and this is the thing that got me. So he's a black gay man. He told Black Enterprise that a lot of criticisms of him from people, he claims they're jealous of him. Yes, the old-fashioned, they're jealous of me. But then also said that they misinterpreted my, quote, my speech, my mannerisms to look to be that of a straight man. He told this publication, y'all, quote, I think what's happening is it's the people who may not be familiar with my brand because I'm getting some of the hate mail I'm getting. You know, stop abusing black women. Keep your hands off black women. And I'm openly gay, but I don't come across as gay, he told the publication. I just needed y'all to hold that pause with me. Anyway, quote, all I want to do is fried chicken and make macaroni and cheese. That's it. Let me tell you something about Mr. Darius Crooks. See, on my previous podcast episode, I told y'all that there was gays from Atlanta and the rest of us. This is the type of fuck shit that I'm talking about. There are a lot of black gay men in our community. I won't say they're self-hating black gay men, but they struggle with toxic masculinity in the sense that they really think and stereotype, right, that there's one way or another to be gay. First of all, when I saw Darius Crooks videos, I'm going to call him Crooks myself. When I saw his videos, I said, who is this butch queen? No shade, I'm gay. Like, let's keep it 100. I was like, who you fooling on here with them hands twiddling that song? I mean, I personally read him as gay when I saw it. I don't know what? I guess. Listen, I don't know. I don't know who. Let me just move on. But I just want to say that I just think it's funny that he's literally. First of all, what does that have to do? First of all, black gay men can be toxic and abusive to black women. It may not be under a sexual construct, right, of a sexual attraction, desire, but that's not how abuse works. So it's almost as if he's like, I'm not of those things to black women because I'm gay. No, bro, you can be abusive to black women and be gay. Like, trust me, there's plenty of men out here who are disrespectful and sexist. In the same way, listen, this is why intersectionality matters, right? We have to understand that one identity does not speak to another, right? Let's be very clear. I don't think that black gay men can be homophobic or racist because they are of the marginalized class, right? They can have internalized homophobia, internalized anti-blackness, but they can't be racist as a construct because they don't hold the power to be racist. Or in the same vein of being the power to be homophobic because they are gay, right? So that's the point. However, I always tell people this, that as a man, you can still be sexist. You don't get divorced from being sexist because you're gay if you're a man. Like, That doesn't make any sense. It's like when I deal with white gay men, right? And they think that because they're gay, that they can't be problematic in other arenas. Like they can't be racist because they're gay. No, you're white. You can be racist. Gayness does not shield you from your racism. The same way that your gayness does not shield you from your sexism as a man. You can still be sexist. You can still be problematic. These are things you have to work on. So I just never understood that part of his argument defense. And I thought that as a black gay man, it was important for me to make that clear that, yes, this man has done some things that is problematic. He's done some things that are sexist, and he's done some things that are toxic. And it ain't got nothing to do about whether people can clock your T or if you gay or not. Like, first of all, I don't know where he got that from, but this man is delusional on some of the other levels, in my opinion. But if you want to believe that people don't read you as gay, child, okay. I don't know why gay men be thinking that somehow there is some honor or some badge. It's like when black folks think that they are somehow, some black people feel like they're somehow passable or a lot about white people. You be like, okay, so white people like you. Yay! Ooh, yes, the oppressors think you're great, you field mouse. I feel like that's the same way I feel about when I hear gay men say things like, oh, they don't know I'm gay, or, I don't come across. Like, who gives a flying fuck? I'm just saying. Like, for real, though. Like, who cares? But there are a lot of people out here, like I said, that really are pressed. Okay? For real, for real. They're pressed. They need this adulation. They need this validation from the oppressive class to define their masculinity, their sexuality, and all of those things. They need this validation. So I just thought that was interesting, and also thought it was irrelevant. But sexual orientation, all that stuff to the side, he is continuing to make a reputation for attacking black women online. I mean, his cookbooks and his discount codes. I mean, he came for Sonny Anderson. He used Sonny and Bad Wig after Anderson criticized him badly. He also did the same thing to Angela, the Kitchenista Davis, which she caught him on social media using the Kitchenista as a discount code for one of his trash ass books. And then he turned around and went on YouTube talking about how he made $110,000 off of the beef. And look, at this point, many people have been getting him together. Kev on stage, basically pulled support from him. And let me say something about Kev on stage. I don't care for how Kev on stage handled this situation. Let me just put that full disclaimer out there, because it took a lot of people having to come. So a little bit of background. Kev on stage is some social media comedian. He used to be funny, I suppose, but he basically had built a following. He used to have an old show, talk about Ask a Millionaire, ask people, and he actually acted like he's the one who gassed up and made people believe that Darius Crooks was an actual billionaire, and interviewed him and let this man fake a lifestyle he does not have on some MTV Cribs type shit. And the shit was wild, because I'm sitting here looking like, really? Like, whatever. But he's got his own issues in these streets. But anyway, many of his fans had to really basically demand that he speak out against this, because, a lot of these black men out here, black cishet men, a lot of them, okay, will not say nothing until literally they're dragged. He knew what the fuck it was given. He's on social media like the rest of us. He can try to play games, but he finally had to come out because of the pressures of his team and people around him. But he finally came out and disavowed the dude. But at the end of the fucking day, he gets no gold medal from me for doing it. But it's something to acknowledge that pressure that came from people like the Kitchenista, from Sunny Williams, from other black women who came and shared their horrific stories dealing with Darius, that was because of them. And I just think that it's just high time that we get out of this place of always having to put the most underserved, most devalued, most marginalized group in our community in these type of situations. It just gets so tired. Like, how many crooks does it take? Like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of the how many crooks does it take for people to get over it? So that's that on that.
So this week I have been in my own news. People have been talking to me about this op-ed that I wrote about Mayor Jim Kenney doesn't care about black people. And this came out following the fact that the mayor of Philadelphia has decided not to declare a state of emergency as the rising gun violence in Philadelphia skyrockets. Philadelphia, as you all know, is second to Chicago in homicides over the past year. Right now, on average, over 10 people, mostly black, are being shot in Philadelphia, being a victim of gun violence. There's consistent stories of young children being killed. It's just scary. It's really scary. It's gotten really bad, and it's happening a lot in West Philadelphia. It's happening in parts of North Philly, and the zip codes that are being hit the hardest. I mean, it's just a lot. And for city council people and elected officials in those districts, they're at arm's length. There's only so much they can do by themselves, and they need a major response. They need more resources. They need a city coordinated effort. They need agencies to really give a damn about this. It is getting fucking real. There are people dying. Like it's going to be the deadliest year in Philadelphia. It's already shaping up to be the rates of which we are seeing as gun violence. I mean, last year was 499 homicides last year. They didn't even want to put it at 500, but this year it's going to supersede that number, and they're trying their hardest not to count them, but it's happening. These numbers are over the top. And it keeps getting higher every year. And this mayor, this crumb-bum ass mayor, treats this like it's not that big of a deal. So yes, I wrote an op-ed for Philadelphia Magazine, like I always do. But this one, I said he doesn't care about black people because this is impacting disproportionately black people. And I know every year, every week, every time when these disparities take place, that if this would have been an issue involving white people, there would have been more coordinated effort and declaration. I want to be clear that in 2018, Mayor Kenney declared a disaster site in Kensington following the opioid epidemic. And at that time, because I want to be very clear, is that the research was showing that white men were the biggest hit in dying in Philadelphia from opioid overdoses. So Kenney's concern was a white concern because the white concern led to him to put public pressure to do what he needed to do, and to the point where he even wanted to try to get safe injection sites. But it was just interesting because he was that determined. And data was showing that at the time it was. Now, let's be very clear. Black and brown people right now in Philadelphia and across the country are the deepest ones getting hit by the opioid epidemic, as we know. But at that time, the data was suggesting that white men were the highest hit. And the numbers have shifted because of Nikon and because of resources that have been helping some of those white people in Kensington. But we're seeing it spread out to other areas and disproportionately impacting black people. So it's interesting or not even interesting, but it just continues to be a reminder how fucked up this city is because of the fact that you got this sitting mayor, right? This white man who's from South Philly, used to be a mummer, which the mummer's racist history in the past. He clearly knows, or at least I would assume he has some level of cultural competency, but it's been lacking, and I don't really think he has much of it anymore. But it's just ridiculous that he would make this decision. Andrew Cuomo, who, as you all know, is the governor of New York, has declared such similar actions in his state. Kenney argues that we don't need to declare a state of emergency because in his mind, there's already actions and decisions and things that are happening that's making this better, but we're just not seeing it. It's not happening fast enough. The resources, the money they try to throw in it, we're just not seeing these results. And it's people are dying. People are dying. Black people are dying. And this city and its efforts to create equilibrium, to supply the resources, to support and keep these streets safe, to keep people safe without having to inflict harm, it's just not happening. And a state of emergency would do that because it would basically make everybody be on alert to give a damn, and he will not do it. And I think it's his ego in this way for not doing it because he doesn't want to be under his presidency or his mayorship, right? He doesn't want to be the one to have to declare a state of emergency for his city because it will negatively impact what he thinks is his legacy. His legacy is now faltered, right? From the tear gassing that took place All of these things happen in his second term. He should never serve the second term. I told people, do not vote for this man because I knew he was a lame duck on day one. And people thought that was going to be cute, but then you had a pandemic. Then you had a gun violence situation. Then you had a civil rights violations and on a global scale. All of these things this man cannot take. And that's just the byproduct of white privilege and mediocrity because nobody has yet to call for his resignation that is currently on city council. Everybody don't want to rock the boat. But at this point in time, how many more times are you going to get slapped in the face? How many times? How many more times can you go through that? And so I'm disgusted in this man. I'm very disgusted in him. I'm disgusted in his performance. He's a crumb bum. He's trash. And I just hope that elected officials really stay on his ass. Because it's nothing's going to change if everyone keeps letting him get away with it. The tear gassing thing happened. Everybody just let that slide. I mean, it's just getting worse. So that's that. Before I wrap up, I wanted to talk about, well, first of all, I've been watching my shows. Encore, okay, or, I just love that show on BET. Lots of great shows are on BET right now. Well, that's the only good show on BET, but like in general, VH1, I always get VH1 BET because they're all owned by Viacom. But Love and Hip Hop is just heating up for me. David McMahon has been fabulous as always. I'm keeping my shows. I'm just watching my same shows. I'm trying to figure out, I don't want to, get into some new stuff. But so far, what is working for me is working for me. I got like a 3-show flow going on that I watch religiously. I haven't gotten into new shows yet. Some stuff I'm just waiting for it to build more episodes before I get into it. You know how that goes. I just, I like what I like. But lastly, I just want to add this. So, I don't know. This is random. But it's for the guys out there. I know this summer, I've been touching a lot of, shaking hands a little bit. I've been washing my hands, let me be clear. But, listen, I love, one of my favorite things, when it's sincere and honest, I try, is getting compliments on my smell, my scent. My favorite fragrance is Versace Dylan Blue. That is like my daily cologne. That's the cologne that I wear, on a daily basis. That just is a nice citrusy, light, mature, grown smell, but not super strong, not super powerful. It's very youthful, but mature like me. I think it best suits me and my pheromones and my body. I don't know. It just complements my body. And, cologne don't smell good on everybody the same. There's some people that try to wear the Versace Dylan Blue, and they didn't smell like me. It didn't work on them like it worked on me, I guess. But like everybody, cologne has a different energy and vibe. I think the same thing perfume. Everybody can get the same bottle of perfume, but everybody can smell the same with it because body, reacts a certain type of way. But it's just, oh my God, it's just my scent. And Oprah smelled me once and she saw I smelled good and she liked my shoes. I'll never forget. My shoes came from Aldo too. But that being said, I need men to go back into investing in smell. I have been going to a couple of events. Okay? Not gonna name them. But I've been looking like, are we just smelling like grass nowadays? Like, are we just gonna smell like wet dog? Are we just out here just smelling like air? Like, an axe does not fucking count. Okay? But I need people to go back. What happened to hygiene? And let me be clear. Taking a shower, that's just the basics. That is, first of all, that's an essential. You're supposed to take a shower. If you're not taking a shower, what are we talking about, right? But first of all, wash your ass. But we're past that now. Washing your ass should be something you should do. If you are not washing your ass, if you're not washing, like taking a shower, if you're not properly, like get off of this podcast and go take a shower right now. Put it on pause and go scrub your ass, scrub your balls. And I'm talking to men because I've had some interesting conversations and seen some things, and I'm just not here for any of it. But I need the hygiene. So, okay. What I need men to do right now, there is a website called Ballsy. Or there's places, get things that's going to make you smell good under your arms, your dick, whatever, your sack. I don't care if you're not having sex. You don't understand the importance of what it's like. First of all, the men's restroom is one of the most disgusting places on the planet Earth. As a man, I don't like going to the men's restroom. I literally will go if it is like the death of me. I try to avoid them. I like single stall bathrooms. I like gender neutral bathrooms. Give me one stall bathrooms, close the door, lock it. Those are only bathrooms I can use. I hate the men's restroom. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen men walk out of a restroom and not wash their hands and will go right out the door. And I'm looking at myself like, motherfucker, the entire time of my life, I will never shake your hands. I will never dap you. I will never say hi to you. Well, I'll say hi. But I will never interact with you in ways that you will touch things. Because if you will walk out of a public restroom and not wash your hands, I already know how you live in. On all types of, you done scratched your, it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. And so I cannot. But I say all that to say that I need men to invest in some real hygiene. Okay? So listen, basics need to be take a shower, wash your hands. We're not even going to talk about that. Okay? You should just at this point be going up to, if you don't, Google that shit. But let's talk about this deep stuff. Body balms. Okay? Cologne. A good quality cologne. If you're using Liz Claiborne Curve, you have the nerve. Go away. But we're talking about, body balms. Okay? There's a great group that I really like. Burt's Bees. And they have some really good hand cream. Men, invest in some good hand cream. Look up the words sandalwood. Look up the words maybe rosemary. Look up the words, okay, shea butter. Okay? Moisture. Okay? Rub it in your hands. Let your hands feel it. Don't use lotion. I need y'all to get hand cream. Rub that hand cream. Rub that on them elbows. Those knees. The back of your feet. Your Achilles, your heel. Get in that heel. When you want to wear sandals and that little upper part of the heel, the Achilles, get all up in there and rub on that. Okay? That ash in the summer, that dry. Okay? We could talk about breath, but mouthwash. And if you need Altoids, keep some Altoids in the bag, in the back pocket, whatever works for you. Keep some on you. But we got to get into this hygiene. Okay? These hands and scent. We're getting rid of Axe. If you're using Axe, please don't. Body sprays, I'm okay with body sprays, but body sprays are not a replacement. I repeat, body sprays are not a replacement for cologne. You have to use a mature cologne. And let's be clear about cologne. Colognes have cycles. Cycles as in different times of the day. You can't always wear the same fragrance every day. Don't put that heavy ass, what is that y'all like to wear? Creed. Don't put that shit on in the daytime. Put that on at night with dinner on a suit, on a heavy material. Don't put that on light linens and be out here trying to smell out. Please be better. And also, I recommend that when you buy cologne, right, and spray, please go to a woman or go to someone who has some expertise in scent. And get them to test it on your skin and figure out your blend and your smell. Don't just buy something that you saw the next dude buy. Too many of y'all are doing it. Some of my homeboys, I say, listen, y'all all can't wear Versace till it blue. Okay? Y'all all can't wear Gucci Guilty. We got to mix it up because it don't smell the same way you like it smell on me. I know it smell good on me. There's some scents that don't smell good on me. Okay? I think there was that one, Marc Jacobs. Marc Jacobs and I, we don't get along. Okay? I think it's Marc Jacobs Black. That cologne don't smell good on me. But it smelled good on one of my homeboys, okay? My man, he likes to wear the Burberry cologne, and he smells good with that. I can't, Burberry is okay on me, but it don't do the same that do for him. Like, on him, it's like, ooh, you smell good. But we got to get to the science of hygiene. I just felt like that was on my heart. That was heavy to me. I just feel like I need to say that because too often I've been in some rooms, y'all, and I don't know, maybe it's the pandemic, everybody felt a little bit more hippie or whatever, and that's cool. But as we starting to go back out with the mask, we need to be thoughtful about some of this. And I just, something that was on my mind. So, hopefully this weekend, hopefully the next days, people are smelling good, looking good, and doing their thing. And, y'all know I'm going to do the same. So, as always, be safe, be smart, and be best.
Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.